In the third lecture of the atmospheric modeling and effect, we were looking to the measurement of aircraft altitude. On the right-hand side, we can see the International Standard Atmosphere. And if we pay attention to the blue curve, which is a pressure, we already know from the previous lectures the pressure decreases with increasing altitude. So the measurement of aircraft altitude is based on the pressure, Internet ISA pressure. Sometimes corrections are made when necessary for non-standard temperature conditions, and the calibration of an aircraft's altimeter is based on the International Standard Atmosphere, and the height indicated in the altimeter is relative to the ISA sea level datum pressure, which is 101.325 kilopascal or 29.9 inch mercury. And also we need to know that actual sea level atmospheric pressure varies daily at any geographical location. Therefore, altimeters zeroed at P0, which is for example 29.9 inch mercury, would not always read zero altitude at sea level, because the actual sea level atmospheric pressure is not the P0 we did the calibration. And showing here is a three-pointer altimeter, and we can see the panel of this three-pointer altimeter is showing in here, and we can see first of all there's a small window in here. It's called Cosman window, and it's indicated 29.9. The unit is actually inch mercury, so this altimeter is zeroed at 29.9 inch mercury, which is the sea level pressure in the ISA, and actually the P0 in the previous slide. Okay, so now we know this altimeter is zeroed at 29.9 inch mercury. And then we have three needles or three pointer. And we can see the thin one, very thin one, is a 10,000 pointer, and the short one is 1,000 pointer, and the last one is a 100 pointer. And in this way, we can, by combining all the the number of the three pointers together, we get the altimeter of the this aircraft. Okay, now let's see an example. So what's the altimeter reading? And first of all, again, if we look at this Cosman window, this altimeter is zeroed at 29.9 inch mercury. Okay, so let's start with the largest pointer, which is 10,000 pointer, which is this one. So it's 0.1, which means it's 10,000, equivalent to 10,000 feet. And now if we look at the sixth shortest one, which is 1,000 pointer, and it's between 0 and 1, so it's actually 1, reads 0. So 1,000 times 0 is 0. And if we see the last pointer, which is 100 feet pointer, and that's I would say 1.8, so it gives a reading of 180 feet. So by adding all these numbers together, the aircraft altitude is 10,180 feet. Okay, we know how to read the altimeter and the three-pointer type. Now let's see what happens inside the altimeter. That's a mechanism, and we can see on the left-hand side we have a static port, which is on the surface of the fuselage, and this port senses the static pressure around the aircraft. Okay, and then we can see there are three needles, the pointers, and also the Cosmo window. And this pressure, static pressure, goes into the chamber. If the pressure changes, the aneroid wafers will be either compressed or expand. That will change the needle location. That will indicate equivalent to different altitudes. We already know how the altimeter works and how to read out the altitude from the altimeter. And we do remember in the altimeter we have the Cosmo window, and we can set the reference pressure to zero the altitude. So during cruise condition, we use 29.9-inch mercury, right? And then we get the altitude referenced at the ISA and standard pressure at the sea level. But sometimes we need to change pressure reference, and then we have the Q code we need to get familiar with. And there are two scenarios which we should pay attention to. One is QFE. So for this Q code, FE equivalent to field evaluation. At this scenario, for this Q code, the pilot need to reference the altimeter at the pressure of the aerodrome. So in this case, everywhere aircraft are approaching this airfield or aerodrome, and they are referenced at the same pressure, and then local pressure, and then the traffic controller can know their height. So this is used for aircraft control. And the second Q code is so-called QNH. NH is equivalent to nautical height, and this is for specifically for aircraft separation in aircraft traffic control zone. So for example, in a specific ATZ zone, aircraft traffic control zone, and the controller gives reference pressure. So all the aircraft pilots need to reference their altimeter to the same pressure. Then the height or the altitude of different aircrafts can be grouped to different altitudes. So there are two Q codes we need to pay attention to. One is QFE for field evaluation. The other is QNH for nautical height for aircraft control.